Alright, so we picked the 68 teams. We're gonna do the first 4 games. Alright. Got it. Robert Morris. North Carolina Central.
In Marquette.
Houston.
All the way.
Oh
Yeah!
in Richmond.
Richmond.
Richmond 4 have been decided. Now we go to the actual bracket. Kansas and Siena. And Kansas. Next
Liberty, Auburn.
is Auburn and Liberty. Auburn. So far, there have been no upsets.
Here we go, Wisconsin. We're finding
Personal favorites, Wisconsin. No!
Oh!
North Texas.
Texas.
Iowa versus Eastern Tennessee State.
University.
Iowa.
Iowa.
Look at that. He, like,
Mr. Brown is going to
Duke
be
and
happy.
Belmont.
Duke.
And Belmont was a bigger Providence and Arizona State.
Providence.
Providence, Kentucky, and North Dakota State.
Let's go North Dakota. Aw.
Kentucky,
Oh,
is gonna come out on
Dayton.
top.
Or, yeah, Robert Morris.
No.
Mm.
Next is Florida and Colorado.
Yes.
Colorado.
We're in Richmond.
Wait. Yeah, Butler.
So Paul said to be careful with the
Richmond. Next is Maryland and Akron. Akron. NC State, right?
Yes.
Penn State and NC State. NC State.
Hofstra.
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 Villanova versus Hofstra.
Nova.
West Virginia and Utah State.
Yes.
West
Virginia.
Mountain Mama.
Florida State versus Northern Kentucky. Northern Kentucky. You mean NC Central?
Yes.
Gonzaga versus North Carolina Central.
Gonzaga.
North Carolina Central.
LSU and Oklahoma.
LSU and Oklahoma.
It's going to be LSU.
At Oklahoma.
Next is Yale and Michigan, right?
Yes. Yale and Michigan.
Yale versus Michigan.
It's Yale.
It is Yale. Oregon versus New Mexico State. Oh, New Mexico, BYU and Indiana.
BYU.
What's
On
next?
E.
Versus Eastern Washington. Eastern Washington.
Arizona, Texas Tech.
Arizona.
UC Irvine and San Diego
UC
State.
Irvine and San Diego State. UC
Irvine.
Winthrop.
Winthrop.
Winthrop. Marys and Rutgers.
St. Mary's. Come on, Stephen F. Austin. He sounds like a pro wrestler.
Ohio
Oh.
State. Louisville, you mean Louisville?
Louisville and Vermont.
Next is Louisville versus
Go
Vermont.
Vermont! Yeah!
Vermont.
So the big one.
Cincinnati.
Virginia.
and Bradley.
Yes.
Michigan State.
All right, Michigan State. Whoop whoop.
Illinois versus South Carolina. Or South
Illinois versus USC.
Illinois.
Empty out the bowl is Creighton versus Little Rock.
All right.
Go Little Rock! Oh.
And
Creighton.
last one in the 32. So 32 eggs in the bowl. 32.
First round, or first game of the second round, Kansas and Houston.
Houston.
Versus North Texas.
North Texas.
Correct.
Yeah.
Iowa and Duke. Iowa.
Providence, Kentucky.
Providence, Kentucky.
Providence, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Woo! Dayton and Colorado. Colorado. Richmond and Akron. Richmond. State and Villanova.
Nova.
Ah.
C-State.
West Virginia and North Kentucky, right?
Yes.
West Virginia and Northern Kentucky. West Virginia. Central and Oklahoma.
Good.
NC
Oklahoma.
Central. And then New Mexico State and Yale.
Yes.
Come on, Yale.
New Mexico State and Yale. New Mexico State.
Alright.
BYU and Eastern Washington. BYU. And then
Arizona, UC Irving.
Arizona and UC Irvine. Arizona. Winthrop and St. Mary's. Winthrop, the 16 seed. Ohio State and Virginia, right?
Vermont.
Vermont. Ohio State and Vermont.
Go Vermont.
Yeah. Michigan State. Michigan State. Barely. And then Illinois versus Creighton.
That was a
Creighton's game of the Sweet 16. Houston and North Texas. Houston.
Elite Eight.
Iowa and Kentucky. Kentucky.
Elite Eight.
Next is
Colorado, Richmond.
Colorado versus Richmond. Colorado. And then West Virginia versus Villanova. West Virginia. Next is NC Central.
And New Mexico State.
NC Central versus New Mexico State. NC Central, the 16 seed, keeps going.
Yeah, BYU and Arizona.
BYU versus Arizona.
BYU.
Winthrop and Vermont, right?
Yes.
Winthrop and Vermont. Winthrop.
Oh, come on, Vermont.
And the last game of the Sweet 16, a damaged Michigan State versus Creighton. Michigan State wins! Game of the Elite Eight.
The Battle of the Giants.
Kentucky and Houston. Kentucky wins.
First one in the Final Four.
Next spot in the Final Four, West Virginia, Colorado. West Virginia. For the next spot in the Final Four, it's North Carolina Central versus BYU.
Yep.
North Carolina Central! And for the final spot in the Final Four, Winthrop versus Michigan State.
Come on, Michigan State. Oh.
Winthrop!
Okay, can I point
The Final Four, Kentucky, West Virginia, and then our two on the other side, North Carolina Central and Winthrop.
First game of the Final Four, West Virginia and Kentucky. Kentucky wins! They get a spot in the championship. Who will they meet? It's between
By the way, it's a 16
NC,
seed.
North Carolina Central, and Winthrop. Winthrop wins! Kentucky versus Winthrop.
That's still a big run for NC Central.
The final game, the championship, Winthrop and Kentucky. Winthrop! Winthrop wins! Takes down the blue blood. And reigns superior.
And we did all March Madness in 3 minutes.